The massive ship drifted through empty space like a sleeping giant. Its dark metal hull stretched for miles, covered in scars from old battles. Weapon ports lined its sides, silent and cold. This was the Baekdu, one of humanity's greatest warships. For 800 years, it had floated alone in the void. Deep inside the ship, Captain Lee Dae-ho felt consciousness return slowly. His body was stiff and cold from the long sleep. The cryopod around him hissed as it opened. Bright lights made him close his eyes tight. His throat felt dry as sand. "Captain?" A voice spoke nearby. "Are you awake, sir?" Lee tried to sit up. His muscles felt weak. A young woman in uniform stood next to his pod. Her name tag read, Kim So-jin, Navigator. "How long?" Lee's voice came, out as a whisper. Kim looked down at a tablet in her hands. Her face was pale. 800 years, sir. Maybe more." Lee felt his heart stop for a moment. 800 years. That was not possible. The mission was supposed to last only 50 years at most. They were supposed to return to Earth victorious, having driven back the alien forces that threatened human space. "The crew?" he asked. "Waking up now, sir. All 50,000 of them. The ship's systems kept us alive, just like they were designed to do." Lee pulled himself out of the pod. His legs shook, but they held his weight. Around him, other pods were opening. Men and women in military uniforms stumbled out, all looking confused and scared. "Where is Chief Park?" Lee asked. "Here, Captain." A tall man walked over. Park Min-soo had been the ship's computer expert before they went to sleep. He carried a data pad that showed streams of numbers and graphs. His face looked worried. "Report," Lee said. Park took a deep breath. "Sir, the ship's AI woke us up because it detected we were safe to revive. We are in deep space, far from any known systems. The ship has been drifting for centuries." "And Earth? Our colonies?" Park's face went darker. "Sir, we have been listening to radio signals from across the galaxy. Earth is gone, sir. Destroyed. The colonies, too. According to what we are hearing, humanity is extinct. Has been for hundreds of years." The words hit Lee like a physical blow. Earth, gone. All those people, his family, everyone he had ever known, was dead and had been dead for centuries. The ship around them was suddenly very quiet as other crew members heard the news. "Who did it?" Lee's voice was cold now. "Something called the Galactic Federation, sir. It seems to be made up of several alien races. They control everything now. From what we can tell, they wiped out humanity completely." Choi Hyun-woo, the communications officer, walked over with his own data pad. He was young, maybe 25 when they went into cryo-sleep. Now he looked older somehow, even though his body had not aged. "Captain, I have been listening to their broadcasts. They talk about the Great Cleansing and how they removed the human plague from the galaxy. They seem very proud of what they did." Lee felt anger burning in his chest. 50,000 humans against an entire galaxy. It seemed impossible, but they were alive. They had survived. That had to mean something. "What about other human ships?" Lee asked. "Other survivors?" Park shook his head. "We have not found any signals from other human vessels, sir. As far as we can tell, we might be the only ones left." Dr. Yoon Hairin joined the group. She was the ship's chief science officer, a small woman with sharp eyes. She had been studying the data they collected. "Captain, I have analyzed the alien broadcasts. This Galactic Federation is made up of 4 main species. The Veltar seem to run their military. The Kunar handle their economy. The Zefti manage communications across space. The Kriva are in charge of mining and resources." "How many ships do they have?" Lee asked. "Millions, sir. Maybe tens of millions. They have split up all of human space between them. Each species controls different sectors." Lee walked to a viewing port and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, aliens were living on human worlds, using human resources, probably sitting in human cities. The thought made his hands shake with rage. "Captain," said Engineering Chief Lim Tae-hyung as he approached. He was a big man with rough hands from years of working on machines. "The ship is in good condition. All weapons systems are working. The quantum foundries are online. We can build whatever we need. How do our weapons compare to theirs? Lee asked. Lim smiled for the first time since waking up. Sir, from what the computer has analyzed of their technology, we are about 200 years ahead of them. Our smallest guns are more powerful than their biggest ones. That was interesting. Lee had expected the aliens to have advanced over the centuries, but it seemed they had grown lazy and comfortable. What do you recommend, Captain? Asked Nam-Ji-hai, the intelligence officer. She was known for her ability to think several steps ahead of enemies. Lee looked around at his senior staff. These people had trusted him to lead them into Battle 800 years ago. Now they were the last humans in the galaxy, surrounded by enemies who thought they were dead. We observe first, Lee said finally. We stay hidden and learn everything we can about these aliens. How they think, how they fight, what they fear. We are outnumbered millions to one, but we have advantages they do not know about. What advantages, sir? Kim asked. Lee turned back to the stars. They think we are dead. They think they won. That makes them careless. And they have never fought humans who have nothing left to lose. Squadron leader Kang Dong-min spoke up from where he had been listening. He commanded the ship's fighter pilots. Orders for the air wing, sir? Prepare stealth reconnaissance missions. I want to know everything about Federation military positions, their patrol routes, their communication systems. But nobody sees you. Nobody knows we exist. Not yet. Yes, sir. Lee looked at each of his officers. We are the last of humanity. That means we carry the memory of every human who ever lived. Earth may be gone, but we are not. And before we are done, this Galactic Federation will learn why humans were considered a threat worth wiping out. The crew around him stood straighter. Purpose was returning to their faces. They had work to do. Get some rest, all of you. Tomorrow, we start planning. In a few months, this galaxy is going to remember what it means to be human. As his officers left to tend to their duties, Lee remained at the viewing port. Somewhere in those stars were the aliens who had killed his world. They thought they were safe. They thought the war was over. They were wrong. 3 months had passed since the crew of the Baekdu woke up to their new reality. The massive ship now moved like a ghost through space, invisible to all sensors. Its stealth systems were far beyond anything the Galactic Federation had ever seen. Captain Lee Dae-ho stood in the command center, watching data streams flow across the main screen. His crew had been busy, very busy. Report, Lee said to Chief Intelligence Officer Nam-Ji-hai. Nam walked over with her data pad. She looked tired, but excited. Sir, we have learned much about our enemies. The Federation is not as united as they pretend to be. She touched the screen and showed a map of the galaxy. Different colors marked different territories. The Veltar control the military zones. They are big reptile creatures about 8 feet tall. They love war and fighting. Their ships are strong but slow. The map changed to show trade routes. The Quinar run all the money and trade. They look like living crystals that glow different colors. They are very smart with numbers but terrible fighters. They hate getting their hands dirty. New symbols appeared on the map. The Zefti handle all communications. They are gas creatures that live in special suits. They think as a group mind, but they are easily confused when things do not go as planned. Finally, mining symbols filled certain areas. The Kriva do all the hard work. They look like giant insects with 6 arms. They are strong workers, but not very creative. They just follow orders. Lee studied the information. Weaknesses? Many, sir. Each group thinks they are the most important. They work together only because they have to. Take away their common enemy, and they will fight each other. Squadron leader Kang Dong-min entered the command center. He had just returned from another stealth mission. His fighter had been gone for 2 weeks, invisible to all Federation sensors. Captain, I have news from the inner systems, Kang said. I found something you need to see. The main screen changed to show video footage. It was a planet covered in metal cities. Alien ships moved in and out of orbit. But what caught Lee's attention were the humans. Groups of people in chains were being moved between buildings. They looked thin and tired. Guards with electric weapons kept them in line. Survivors, Lee said quietly. Yes, sir. I found them on 12 different worlds. Maybe 100,000 humans total. The aliens kept them as slaves for mining and heavy work. Dr. Yoon Hai-rin had been studying the video. Captain, look at their clothes and equipment. These people are descendants of our original colonies. Their families have been slaves for 800 years. Lee felt his anger grow stronger. Not only had the aliens destroyed Earth, but they had kept humans alive just to suffer for centuries. Any more recon data? Lee asked. Communications Officer Choi Hyun-woo stepped forward. Sir, I have been listening to Federation broadcasts for months now. They never mention humans anymore. To them, we are ancient history. They have completely forgotten we ever existed as a threat. That is good for us, Lee said. What about their military strength? Engineering Chief Lim Tae-hyung joined the group. Captain, I have analyzed their ship designs from the data our scouts collected. Their technology has barely improved in the last 500 years. They became lazy after defeating humanity. He showed technical drawings on the screen. Their biggest battleship carries weapons that are weaker than our fighter guns. Their armor is thick, but basic. They rely on numbers, not quality. How many ships do they have total? Lee asked. Best estimate is about 10 million combat vessels, sir, plus support ships and transports. But most are spread across the entire galaxy. They could never gather them all in one place. Navigator. Kim So-jin had been plotting Federation patrol routes. Captain, they have a pattern. Each species patrols only their own territory. They rarely cross into each other's space without permission, and their patrols are very predictable. Lee looked at all the information his crew had gathered. The Federation was huge but weak, strong but divided, confident but blind. Sir, said Major Han Ji-woo from the cyber warfare station. I have something else. I managed to hack into several Federation computer networks. Their security is terrible, compared to ours. The screen showed alien text and symbols. I can read their mail, their military orders, even their personal messages. They have no idea we are watching them. Lee smiled for the first time in months. What are they saying? Mostly complaining about each other, sir. The Veltar think the other species are weak. The Kunar think everyone else wastes money. The Zefti are angry that nobody listens to their advice. The Kriva just want to be left alone to work. Perfect, Lee said. Nam, I want you to start making detailed files on their leaders. Find out what they fear, what makes them angry, what they care about most. Already working on it, sir. Lee turned to face his entire command crew. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to do something the Federation will never expect. We are going to win this war without firing our big guns. How, sir? Kim asked. By making them destroy themselves. They stayed united only because humanity was a threat. Now they think we are gone. We are going to remind them why they needed to work together in the first place. But this time, we will not be where they expect us to be. Lieutenant Colonel Oh Sung-min spoke up from the back. He led the ship's Special Forces teams. What are your orders, Captain? I want small teams ready for covert insertion. You will visit Federation worlds and leave signs that humans are still alive. But you will never be seen. Let them find evidence, not people. What kind of evidence, sir? Lee thought for a moment. Human writing on walls, old Earth music playing in empty buildings, pictures of Earth in government offices, anything that will make them remember we existed. Dr. Yoon looked worried. Captain, if they realize we are alive, they will hunt us with everything they have. No, Lee said. They will hunt what they think we are. They will expect human fleets and human armies. They will look for invasion forces and colony ships. They will never look for one ship playing tricks on their minds. He pointed at the map showing Federation territory. We are going to make them think there are humans hiding everywhere. In their systems, on their worlds, maybe even on their ships. They will start seeing threats that do not exist. And then? Kang asked. Lee's smile grew wider. Then they will start shooting at shadows. And when you are shooting at shadows in the dark, sometimes you hit your friends by mistake. The command crew looked at each other. They were beginning to understand the plan. How long do we observe before we start? Nam asked. 2 more months. I want to know everything about them first. Their daily routines, their fears, their weak points. When we finally reveal ourselves, it will be exactly when and where we choose. Lee looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, aliens were sleeping safely, thinking the galaxy belonged to them. Soon they would learn that humans were very good at waking people up. Captain Lee Dae-ho stood before the main viewing screen as the Baek-do prepared for its first real action in 800 years. 5 months of watching and learning were over. Now it was time to make the galaxy remember that humans existed. All. "Stations ready, Captain," reported Navigator Kim So-jin. "Good. Take us to the edge of Veltar space, just close enough for their sensors to detect us." The massive ship moved through space silently. Its stealth systems could hide it completely, but today Lee wanted to be seen, just for a moment. "Veltar, patrol coming into sensor range," announced Communications Officer Choi Hyun-woo. 3 ships, standard patrol formation. Perfect timing. Drop stealth for exactly 10 seconds, then jump to hyperspace. The Baek-do suddenly appeared on every sensor screen in the area. For 10 seconds, the Veltar patrol ships saw something impossible. A ship bigger than their largest battleships, with weapon signatures that made no sense. Then it vanished. "Jump complete, Captain. We are now in empty space, 2 systems away." Lee smiled. "Choi, what are the Veltar saying?" Choi listened to his equipment for a moment. His eyes went wide. "Sir, they are screaming into their radios. They want to know what they just saw. Their computers cannot identify our ship design." "Excellent. Nam, begin Phase 2. Chief Intelligence Officer Nam Ji-hai nodded and moved to her station. For weeks, she had been preparing to hack into Federation computer networks. Now she began planting evidence. "Sir, I am adding our sensor signature to their databases, but I am making it incomplete. Just enough information to confuse them." "What will they think they saw?" "A ship that should not exist, sir. Too big, too advanced, and using technology they do not understand." Across the galaxy, Federation computer systems began updating their threat databases. Veltar military computers tagged the unknown ship as extreme threat, origin unknown. Quinar economic systems calculated impossible resource costs for such a vessel. Zefti communication networks buzzed with confused data. Kriva mining computers tried to figure out what materials could build such a thing. "Captain," said Major Han Ji-woo from his cyber station, "I am monitoring Federation military channels. The Veltar are requesting backup. They want an entire battle group sent to investigate. How many ships?" 50 vessels, sir, including 2 of their heavy battleships." Lee laughed. 50 ships to hunt 1 ghost. I like those odds. "Kang, how are the stealth fighters?" Squadron leader Kang Dong-min checked his boards. "All 12. Fighters ready for deployment, sir. Pilots are excited to finally do something. Send them to 12 different Federation systems. I want reports of mysterious ships appearing and disappearing. Make sure each sighting is different. Different size, different location, different time." "Yes, sir." Over the next 2 weeks, the AI galaxy began seeing ghosts. A Federation patrol near Quinar space reported a fast attack ship that appeared for seconds before vanishing. Kriva miners saw something huge moving between asteroids, but when security arrived, nothing was there. Zefti listening posts detected unknown signals that made no sense. Each sighting was reported to Federation headquarters. Each report made the aliens more nervous. "Captain," Dr. Yoon Hai-rin said during a briefing, "the psychological effect is working better than expected. I have been studying their communications. They are starting to see threats everywhere." "Show me," Lee said. The main screen displayed Federation military reports. Red warning symbols covered dozens of star systems. "They have increased patrols by 300%. Ships that were guarding important worlds are now chasing shadows." Lieutenant Colonel Oh Sung-min had just returned from a covert mission. His Special Forces team had spent a week on a Veltar military base, leaving evidence that humans had been there. "Report," Lee said. "Mission successful, sir. We placed human writing in the base commander's private office. Old Earth military codes that their computers cannot read. We also left behind a picture of Earth from before it was destroyed." "How did they react?" Oh smiled. "They think humans are somehow alive and hiding on their own base, sir. They have torn the place apart looking for infiltrators. 3 officers have been arrested for suspected treason." "Outstanding. What about the other teams?" Team 2 left. Human music playing in a Quinar government building. Team 3 put earth flowers in a Kriva food storage area. Team 4 wrote human poetry on the walls of a Zefti communication station. Lee nodded. His people were doing excellent work. "Any problems?" "No, sir. Our stealth suits work perfectly. They never saw us coming or going. Communications Officer Choi looked up from his station. Captain, you need to hear this. I just intercepted a message from the Veltar High Command to all Federation leaders. Put it on speakers. An alien voice filled the room, speaking in the Veltar language. Choi translated as it played. Emergency meeting called. Unknown threat has returned to our galaxy. Evidence suggests human survivors are conducting covert operations. All species must increase security immediately. The command crew looked at each other. Their plan was working even better than hoped. Sir, said Engineering Chief Lim Tae-hyung, our quantum foundries have finished the special projects you requested. Show me. Lim led Lee to a storage bay where strange devices waited. They looked like small satellites, each about the size of a person. Holographic projectors, just like you asked for, sir. Each one can create the image of a full-sized human battleship. They will fool any sensor system the Federation has. How many? 100 units, sir. Each one can operate for 6 months before needing new power cells. Lee examined the devices. They were perfect for the next phase. I want these deployed in empty space throughout Federation territory. Set them to activate randomly, sometimes one at a time, sometimes in groups. That will make it look like human fleets are hiding everywhere, Nam said with approval. Exactly. And when Federation ships arrive to investigate, they will find nothing, just empty space and confused sensor readings. Over the following weeks, the Federation began to fall apart. Veltar fleets chased false targets across half the galaxy. Kunar traders refused to travel alone, demanding expensive military escorts. Zefti communication networks became clogged with panic reports. Kriva workers went on strike, afraid to work in remote locations. Captain, reported Kim from the navigation station, Federation military response is getting chaotic. Their patrol schedules make no sense anymore. Ships are being moved constantly to respond to sightings. Any friendly fire incidents yet? Choi nodded grimly. 3 so far, sir. Nervous Federation ships have fired on each other when they met unexpectedly. Each species blames the others for poor coordination. Lee walked to the viewing screen and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, millions of alien ships were, hunting desperately for an enemy they could not find. They were burning fuel, exhausting crews, and growing more paranoid every day. And the Baekdu remained invisible, watching it all happen. Sir, said Nam, intelligence reports suggest the Federation leadership is planning something big. They want to end this threat once and for all. What kind of something? A massive coordinated sweep of the entire galaxy, sir. Every ship they have working together to find us. Lee smiled. That was exactly what he had been hoping for. When your enemies gathered all their forces in one place, they left everything else undefended. Perfect. Signal all departments. Phase 3 begins tomorrow. It is time to show them what real fear looks like. The Federation was falling apart, and Captain Lee Dae-ho could see it happening from the command center of the Baekdu. 6 months of ghost ship sightings and mysterious human evidence had driven the aliens to the edge of madness. Report on Federation. Fleet movements, Lee said to Navigator Kim So-jin. Kim pulled up the galaxy map on the main screen. Red dots showed Federation ships moving in all directions. Sir, it looks like complete chaos. They have ships going everywhere at once. No coordination between the different species anymore. Perfect. What about their leadership? Chief Intelligence Officer Nam Ji-hai stepped forward with her datapad. Captain, I have been monitoring their high-level communications. The Veltar military leaders are furious. They think the other species are not taking the human threat seriously. The Kunar are angry about the cost of all these military operations. The Zefti cannot handle all the conflicting reports. The Kriva just want everyone to leave them alone. Communications. Officer Choi Hyun-woo looked up from his station. Sir, you need to hear this. The Federation Council is meeting in emergency session. They are blaming each other for letting humans return to the galaxy. Lee smiled coldly. Excellent. Phase 4 begins now. Dr. Yoon, are the rescue ships ready? Dr. Yoon Hyrin nodded. Yes, sir. We have modified 12 transport ships with our best stealth technology. Each one can carry 5,000 people safely. For months, Lee had been planning the most important part of their mission. The Federation had human slaves on dozens of worlds. While the aliens chased ghosts, those people would be freed. Lieutenant Jang, report on rescue operations. Lee said. Lieutenant Jang Kyung-mi had been leading the secret rescue missions. Her teams had been studying slave camps for weeks. Captain, we have identified 47 locations with human prisoners. Total number is about 98,000 people. Security at these camps? Light, sir. Most guards have been pulled away to hunt for ghost ships. The aliens never expected anyone would try to rescue slaves. Lee nodded. Begin rescue operations immediately. Priority is given to families with children, then the elderly, then everyone else. No one gets left behind. Yes, sir. As the rescue ships launched, Lee turned his attention back to the Federation military situation. Major Han Ji-woo had been monitoring their communications all morning. Captain, I have some interesting news. The Veltar fleet near the Rigel system just opened fire on a group of Kunar ships. Friendly fire? Yes and no, sir. The Veltar thought the Kunar ships were disguised human vessels. The Kunar ships fired back in self-defense. 3 ships destroyed on each side. Lee felt satisfaction wash over him. Casualties? About 2,000 aliens dead, sir. And now the Veltar and Kunar are officially angry with each other. Engineering Chief Lim Tae-hyung had been working on special projects. Captain, the chaos generators are ready for deployment. Lee had asked Lim to create devices that would make Federation sensors give false readings. How do they work? Each device creates fake energy signatures, sir. To Federation sensors, it will look like human ships are hiding in asteroid fields behind planets, even inside gas giants. But when they investigate, they find nothing. How many do we have? 500 units, sir. Enough to make it look like. Human fleets are hiding in every system. Squadron leader Kang Dong-min had returned from a scouting mission. Captain, I have bad news and good news. Bad news first. The Federation is planning something called Operation Final Strike. They want to gather every ship they have for one massive hunt. Over 8 million vessels, sir. Lee considered this. 8 million ships would be nearly impossible to fight directly. But that was not his plan. And the good news? To gather that many ships, they are pulling vessels from everywhere, sir. Their home systems will be almost undefended. Perfect timing for the rescue operations. Lieutenant Colonel Oh Sung-min had just completed another covert mission. Captain, my teams have placed human evidence in the personal quarters of 50 Federation leaders. Family photos from Earth, human toys, even human food in their refrigerators. Their reaction? Pure terror, sir. They think humans are somehow getting into their most secure locations. 3 Veltar generals have moved their families to secret bunkers. The Kunar High Economist has tripled his personal guard. The Zefti hive mind is fracturing from paranoia. The plan was working better than Lee had dared hope. The Federation was destroying itself from within, and they had not fired a single shot. Sir, called out Lieutenant Park from the sensor station, Rescue Ship Alpha is reporting successful extraction. 5,000 humans recovered from the mining world Kepler 442b. Any problems? None, sir. The guards ran away when they saw our stealth ships. They thought it was a full invasion force. Over the next 2 weeks, rescue operations continued across the galaxy. Each successful mission was blamed on the mysterious human fleet. Federation leaders became more desperate and more angry with each other. Captain, Nam reported during a morning briefing, Federation unity is collapsing. The Veltar have started making threats against the other species. They claim everyone else is weak and useless. What about the Kunar? They are threatening to stop funding military operations. They say the cost of hunting ghosts is bankrupting them. The Zefti? Their group mind is breaking apart. Too much conflicting information. Some hive sections are giving completely different orders than others. And the Kriva? They have stopped answering calls from the other species. Their representatives walked out of the last Federation Council meeting. Lee looked at the galaxy map again. Red warning symbols covered almost every system. Federation ships were spread so thin that many worlds had no protection at all. Sir, reported Dr. Yoon, rescue operations are 75% complete. We have recovered over 70,000 humans so far. All are safely aboard the transport ships. Medical condition? Better than expected, sir. These people are survivors. Their families have stayed strong for 800 years. They are ready to fight. Good. We will need every person we can get. Choi suddenly stood up at his communication station. Captain, priority message from Federation High Command. They are broadcasting on all frequencies. Put it on speakers. The voice of Veltar Supreme Commander Velkar filled the room. Even through the translator, his fury was clear. All Federation forces, this is your final order. Every ship will join Operation Final Strike. We will sweep every system, every planet, every asteroid. The human plague will be found and destroyed once and for all. The message continued with threats against any species that failed to participate. Lee listened with growing satisfaction. Nam, how many ships are they actually gathering? Nam checked her intelligence reports. Latest count is 7.2 million vessels, sir. The largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. And they are leaving their home systems defenseless to do it. Yes, sir. Lee stood up and addressed his command crew. Ladies and gentlemen, the Federation has just made their final mistake. They are gathering all their ships in one place to hunt for us. That means we know exactly where they will be. Orders, sir? Asked Kim. Lee smiled. It was time for the last phase of his plan. The Federation thought they were going to destroy humanity once and for all. Instead, they were about to learn why humans had once been the most feared species in the galaxy. Signal all rescue ships to complete their missions and return to the Bekdu. Tomorrow we stop hiding. Tomorrow the galaxy learns that humanity is not extinct. And then, sir, then we show them what happens when you hunt a predator that is already hunting you. 8 months had passed since Captain Lee Dae-ho and his crew woke up in a galaxy that thought humanity was dead. Now, as the Bekdu moved toward its final position, Lee knew the time for hiding was over. All rescue operations complete, Captain, reported Dr. Yoon Hai-rin. 98,000 humans are safe aboard our transport ships. Lee nodded. Every human slave in Federation space was now free. After 800 years of suffering, they were finally going home to the stars. Federation fleet status? Lee asked. Navigator Kim So-jin brought up the galaxy map. A massive red cloud showed the location of the Federation Armada. 7.3 million ships, sir, all gathered in the Vega system just like we predicted. Operation Final Strike is ready to begin. Perfect. They brought everything they have to hunt one ship. Chief Intelligence Officer Nam Ji-hai was monitoring Federation communications. Captain, their leaders are making final speeches to their crews. Supreme Commander Velkar is promising to wipe out the human threat forever. High Economist Kuthala is talking about the glory of victory. The Zefti hive mind is singing war songs. Even the Kriva Queen has promised to help destroy us. Lee looked at his command crew. These 50,000 humans were about to face over 7 million enemy ships. In any normal battle, they would be destroyed in minutes. But this would not be a normal battle. Engineering report, Lee said. Chief Lim Tae-hyung smiled broadly. All systems at full power, sir. Weapons are charged and ready. Engines are running perfectly. The ship has never been in better condition. Communications ready? Officer Choi Hyun-woo nodded. Yes, sir. I can broadcast to the entire galaxy on all frequencies. Every radio, every computer, every communication device will receive our message. Stealth fighters? Squadron leader Kang Dong-min checked his boards. All fighters ready for deployment, sir. Pilots are excited to finally show these aliens what human technology can do. Lee took a deep breath. For months, they had been phantoms and ghosts. Now it was time to become real. Take us to the Vega system, but stay outside their sensor range for now. The Bekdu moved through hyperspace like a massive predator approaching its prey. When it dropped back into normal space, the Federation Armada was visible on the main screen. Millions of ships filled space around the star Vega. My God, whispered Kim. I have never seen so many ships in one place. Neither have they, Lee said. That is why this will work. Choi, open a channel to the entire galaxy. Channel open, sir. Lee activated the ship's cameras so his image would be broadcast everywhere. He straightened his uniform and looked directly at the screen. This is Captain Lee Dae-ho of the Human Colonial Defense Force vessel Bekdu. I'm speaking to every intelligent being in this galaxy. Across billions of worlds, aliens stopped what they were doing to listen. In the Federation fleet, millions of crew members stared at their screens in shock. For 8 months, you have been hunting ghosts, chasing shadows, fighting phantoms that existed only in your minds. You thought you were hunting the return of humanity. You were wrong. Lee paused, letting his words sink in. Humanity never left. We have been here all along, watching, learning, waiting. On the bridge of Supreme Commander Velkar's flagship, chaos erupted. Officers screamed orders while computers tried to locate the source of the transmission. One ship, Lee continued. That is all it took to bring your mighty Federation to its knees. One human vessel with 50,000 souls aboard. We made 7 million of your ships chase nothing across the galaxy. We turned your unity into paranoia. We made you shoot at each other in the dark. The main screen switched to show the Bekdu itself. The massive warship appeared like a giant rising from the depths of space. Its weapons glowed with power that made Federation battleships look like toys. This is what you were really hunting, Lee said. Not ghosts, not phantoms. One ship that carries the memory of every human who ever lived. One ship that remembers Earth. One ship that will not let your crimes go unpunished. In the Federation fleet, panic spread like wildfire. Sensors finally detected the human vessel and the readings made no sense. It was impossible. Too big, too powerful, too advanced. You enslaved our survivors for 800 years. Lee's voice continued. You destroyed our worlds and called it victory. You thought you had wiped us out completely. But you made one mistake. The Bekdu's weapons began to activate. Targeting systems that had been designed to fight entire fleets came online. Energy readings spiked beyond anything the Federation had ever seen. You left witnesses. Chief Diplomat, An So-young stepped forward to join Lee on the broadcast. She was one of the freed slaves chosen to speak for all the rescued humans. I am An So-young, she said in a clear, strong voice. My family has been slaves for 30 generations. We never forgot who we were. We never forgot Earth. We never forgot that someday humanity would return. Her words hit the Federation leaders like physical blows. They had always told themselves that humans were extinct. Now they learned that thousands of their slaves remembered everything. We know which of you gave the orders, An continued. We know which ships destroyed our colonies. We know which leaders planned the Great Cleansing. We remember all of it. Lee took control of the broadcast again. You have one choice. Complete surrender. Release all remaining human prisoners. Evacuate all human worlds. Pay reparations for 800 years of occupation. And if we refuse? Supreme Commander Velkar's voice cut across the communication channel. Lee smiled coldly. Then you will. Learn why it took 7 million ships to feel safe from one human vessel. The Bekdu's weapons locked onto targets throughout the Federation fleet. Every major ship found itself painted by targeting beams that penetrated their shields like they were not there. Impossible, whispered High Economist Kothala. No single ship can target our entire fleet. You underestimated us once before, Lee said. It cost you everything. Do you really want to make that mistake twice? On ships throughout the Federation fleet, crew members began to panic. Their sensors showed weapon locks from the human ship, but their own weapons could not even reach it at this distance. Demonstration, Lee said quietly to his crew. The Bekdu fired one small pulse from its smallest gun. The beam crossed space and struck an empty asteroid near the fleet. The rock simply vanished, turned to dust in an instant. That was our weakest weapon at minimum power, Lee announced. We have weapons that can destroy entire fleets. We have weapons that can crack planets. We have weapons your science cannot even understand. The Federation fleet was completely silent now. 7 million ships floating helplessly while one human vessel held them all at its mercy. Choose quickly, Lee said. Surrender, or learn what human weapons can really do. Supreme Commander Velkar's voice came over the channel again. But this time it was different. Defeated. Broken. The Galactic Federation surrenders unconditionally. Cheers erupted across the Bekdu. 50,000 humans celebrated as their impossible victory became real. Wise choice, Lee said. You will evacuate all human worlds within 30 days. You will release any remaining human prisoners immediately. You will pay reparations as determined by human representatives. Any violation of these terms will result in immediate retaliation. We understand, Velkar said quietly. Lee looked at the image of the Federation fleet on his screen. Millions of ships that had ruled the galaxy for centuries, now surrendering to ghosts they had thought were dead. The war is over, Lee announced to the galaxy. Humanity has returned to the stars. We claim no territory that was not originally ours. We seek no conquest of alien worlds. We want only justice for our people and peace for all species." He paused for a final moment. "But remember this day. Remember that one human ship brought your greatest fleet to surrender without firing a shot. Remember that humanity's greatest weapon was never our technology. It was our ability to turn your strength against you." The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, billions of aliens sat in stunned silence. The species they had thought extinct had returned, and they had won the greatest victory in galactic history without even fighting. Captain Lee Dae-ho looked out at the stars and smiled. Somewhere among those lights, human colonies would rise again. Children would be born free under alien suns. The long night was finally over. Humanity had come home.